Welcome back to another edition of the White Sox here on OOTP 25, and as you can see, things have been going south for the Chicago White Sox. Not the south side, but just south as far as how the season's been going. Unfortunately, we're looking like we're not going to be making any trades for a couple starters at the deadline here. Looking more so like we're going to be trying to flip the guys we have on one-year deals. Those guys being Wilmer Flores, Conforto, probably going to try. I mean, Quintana's hurt. Going to try with Profar, Flaherty, try with Boyd. Doubt he gets anything. Maybe Pache, probably not, though, because we might just have him be our center fielder next year, too. Ferguson, maybe. Just anything we can flip, we're going to try to flip because we are just completely out of it. There are so many teams between us. The Guardians, Rays, Blue Jays have those. I mean, the Guardians and the Rays, they have the wild card locked up at this point if they don't get the division. And then the Blue Jays, Tigers, Yankees. I mean, there's, not counting the Blue Jays who are in the third spot, there are 5 teams in front of us for that wild card spot. So even though we're only 4 games back, we got to jump a bunch of teams. It's not feasible. Doesn't make any sense to just hold on to our one-year contract guys. So we're going to see what we can get for Flores, Conforto, all those guys I was saying, and hopefully it's something because I mean, honestly, if there's nothing out there, why not hang on to him and see if we can make a run? What is even going to pop up here for Wilmer Flores? Literally nothing. What if we retain all of the money because we don't give a shit about the money? It's a one-year deal. Now we got some stuff popping up, but it's like nothing. It's like we could get Anthony Santander on a one-year deal. So honestly, we might as well just keep Flores. Why not? Michael Conforto. If Michael Conforto also has no value, at that point, we might as well just try to make a trade for a starter and try to go on a miracle run here. Nothing. What about if we retain all of it? We got some stuff popping up here, but it's mainly veteran reliever, Dylan Lee. I'm not going to pick up Ozzie Albies' contract. AJ Puck. I mean, it's once again just a bunch of nothing really. Are we really going to trade him for Zerpa? Brady Singer? Yeah. I mean, yeah, not really what we're looking for there. Trent Grisham, I mean, it's really not interesting. What if we just go prospects? Any 45s and above? Here we go, some 45s from the Mets. Jeremiah Jackson. I mean, not really intriguing. Perosa. Interesting-ish bat, I would say. But he's a first baseman, and we've already got, Ramos and Berry. I guess this guy could play you third, too. I don't know. Maybe Perosa's worth it. But it's really just the Mets. It's just the Mets that are offering anything that's interesting whatsoever. This Mateo Heel guy is also interesting. Big gap power. Can play you some decent infield. Decent outfield as well. So the Mets might be worth something here. If we go Conforto, Perosa, Gill, and then Jeremiah Jackson, they're all probably Rule 5 eligible. So Jackson, Perosa, Heel, yeah, they're all Rule 5 eligible. Let's see if we go Perosa. Heel was on their AA team. They'll do that right away. Jackson, they'll just do that straight up. Michael Conforto, what if we go 0? Yeah, it's the money that's holding them up, even though they're owned by Steve Cohen, and it's a one-year deal, so it doesn't even really matter what the money is. We're probably just going to try to dump Conforto here. Flores, it didn't seem like was worth it, but we'll probably take another look at that. Is there possibly somebody they have in the minors that we could throw in as a starter to help us down the stretch? Or a follower or somebody like this? Would they give us Wilkin Ramos? No, that's the wrong guy. What is this guy's deal? Yeah, no. Wilkin Ramos, extreme ground ball, not the greatest control. They would do that. They would do that straight up. Here we go. This is what we're doing. We're just going straight into it here. Michael Conforto, getting what we can for him as much as possible to help us here. Jose Peroza, right-handed bat, good against both sides, could actually even help us down the stretch here. So maybe he ends up on our big league team here. We shall have to see. We'll evaluate what our team's going to be looking like here once we make some trades. But Peroza, interesting-looking bat, having a good season between AA and AAA for the Mets organization. We pick him up. Mateo Gil, same sort of thing. Infielder, could also give you some outfield here as well. He hasn't played the outfield for them, though, but interesting depth infield. This guy probably ends up as our backup infielder rather than Rodriguez, honestly, right now. Straight from AA to the big leagues, I would be fine with that. And we'll see if he's any good for us. 25 years old, going to come to our team. And then we also have Jeremiah Jackson, who maybe he ends up as the the backup infielder, rather, having a not great season in AA, but he was decent last year he was decent in AAA last year, really good in AA last year. Has some good BABIP, gap power, power eye, decent speed, can play all over the infield, right-handed bat. And then we also pick up Wilkin Ramos as a potential bulk reliever is how we're looking at this guy. Maybe like a starter at some point, like a bottom-tier starter, like a 4-5 guy. 24 years old, extreme ground baller. And then we're also throwing in my arch nemesis, Mark Leiter Jr. Of the Syracuse Mets here, having a good season in Syracuse. We're going to call him up, and we're probably going to either make him a follower or a stopper or something, some sort of bulk role in our bullpen probably, and see how he does. Why not? He's back in Chicago. Am I going to do that every time we bring a guy back to Chicago? Possibly. It's a catchy song. What can I say? But that's what we're doing. Michael Conforto, in this 1-year massive deal we gave him, is going to get us a package of 5 players here as we're locking this in. Yeah, when it comes to Wilmer Flores, even retaining 100% of it just for prospects, there's nothing. I mean, I'm not going to trade this guy for a 40 potential prospect. So we're just going to hang on to Flores and hope that he can heat up the rest of the year and start mashing lefties like you would hope him to. And maybe he's part of a run that we make. And then Jack Flaherty, I mean, he hasn't been great, but like he's also not really getting any buzz here at the deadline. So we might just hold on to him, honestly, too, because, like, is it better to have Jack Flaherty the rest of the season and possibly re-sign him to, like, a cheap deal next year to be, like, a bulk guy for us? Or is it better to trade him for, like, the best prospects available here are, like, this guy, who's not really that intriguing? Who's the other 45? There was another one who popped up here. Here we go. Michael Brewer. Maybe. I mean, this guy's interesting. So maybe we do get Michael Brewer from the A's, try to throw on some more stuff. The other one I saw was Victor Santos here from the Cardinals organization, but I definitely like Brewer more. So I didn't see Brewer the first time I scrolled through this. They purchased him from Indie Ball. And he's on their big league team here. Don't know that he's a fly ball guy, but he's got a really good home runs allowed. So we're hoping that that kind of balances that out. He's 24. He has 3 options. You know, I think he's somebody that, like, he is a reliever. So, like, what if we go Brewer, and then we also try to convince them to give us other stuff? And this makes no sense. They're rebuilding too. They stink. They're 44 and 57. Yeah, I mean, they're worse than us. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to... No, we're not doing that. We're not giving them Jack Flaherty. So I think we might just hang on to Jack Flaherty because, like, Victor Santos is the only other guy that's borderline interesting. And I just don't think it's worth it. Like, we're just going to hold on to him. We're going to keep Jack Flaherty here, see what he can do for us down the stretch. Maybe we bring him back next season as well. And then as far as all the other guys that we have on 1-year deals, really the only one that's generating any sort of interest is Jurickson Profar, who we are going to send to the New York Yankees. And we do have a plan for what we're going to do in the outfield now that we're trading away Conforto and Profar. but we'll get into that in a second here. We're trading Profar to the Yankees, and we're picking up a couple pitching help guys. 25-year-old, almost 26-year-old Victor Vodnik, who they picked up from Colorado in the offseason, and they're just not really using it all. So we're going to pick him up. He's going to join our staff. And then we're also reacquiring Jake Eater, who they're just dumping down in the minor leagues. They've had him all the way down to high A this season. And I'm like, hey, man, you're not going to use this guy? We threw him in our deal with them to just sweeten the pot to dump off Benintendi's contract, who they immediately cut. And if, like, you don't want Jake Eater, like, we'll take him back, man. He can help us. So Jake Eater and Victor Vodnik are coming back to Chicago as we Eater's coming back to Chicago. Vodnik is being acquired for the first time by us. We will lock that in. All right, I think that's all we're going to be doing here at this deadline. Right now, we have some things that are in motion that aren't quite in place yet, but we do have the structure of what we want to have things set up. So right now, Eater is in our rotation as a follower. We still have Jason Foley as our opener. He'll be opening for Eater. And then Boyd will probably get like one more start or one more appearance, and then we are going to just cut bait on him and get rid of him because he's not even getting it done as a follower. So we're just going to get rid of him, and we are going to bring back Walker Buehler, who is currently in rehab assignment in AAA. So he's going to come up, he's going to do his thing, and luckily he's still normal injury proneness. We're hoping that he can be a good pitcher for us down the stretch and for the rest of his contract here. So he'll be taking Boyd's place. Flaherty, Santucci has 2 starts, and you can see in his 2 starts in the major leagues, he's actually been quite good. So we're going to keep letting him be in the rotation. Cannon has been like around league average, so he's going to keep getting his spot. Flaherty's been Flaherty. And then Buehler is going to take this 5th spot. While in the bullpen, we have Banks and Kittredge as the stoppers. Liager as the setup. Mark Leiter Jr. as a middle reliever / stopper. Brazoban and Ferguson as setups with secondary roles, that is. Shane Smith. And then Foley is our opener guy / middle reliever. While on the offensive side of things, against righties, we now have the same look, mainly in the infield. Kara's catching, Brian Ramos at first, Baldwin at second, Montgomery at third, Lee at short, Chappelle's in left, Pache's in center, and then we have Samuel Zavala, who was absolutely tearing things up in Double-A, was expected to play in the majors, and I was like, let's just call him up. He's in the big leagues here, rocking number 0, playing left field for us, or right field for us, rather. And then rather than having Fletcher as the 4th outfielder, it is Hudson Head back up in the big leagues here after he was quite good in Double-A. We're going to give him a chance in the big leagues again. So he's the 4th outfielder. Then Michael Massey is DHing, while against lefties, we have Jeremiah Jackson sliding into the second base spot as our backup infielder against righties, starting second baseman against lefties. Look at his ratings against lefties. Should have some decent juice against left-handed pitching. And then we have Baldwin in left, Pache in center, Chappelle in right, Zavala moved to the bench with Head, Massey's on the bench against lefties, Flores is DHing, and that's what our team is going to be looking like here heading into the second, or the rest of the season, the final August, September, see where we are when it's all said and done. Also, I should mention that Cody Funderburk is currently on a rehab assignment. He will be back at some point as well. And then we also have Gage Workman, who has like 5 days left in his torn hamstring. Drew Thorpe should be back sometime soon. Quintana's going to be out the rest of the year, though. But we've got some guys coming back here. Maybe we can make a miracle run and sneak into the playoffs. Alrighty, folks, we have reached the end of the 2025 campaign, and unfortunately, we do not make the playoffs, but very close to making the playoffs. This is a team. We got some stuff. We've got some juice, folks. We've got some stuff that we are excited about heading into future seasons as the Chicago White Sox finish 2025 83-79. 3 games out of the wild card. I mean, couple breaks here and there, and all of a sudden we're a playoff team. That's what we're looking at here. The Chicago White Sox. What else can you? What can you say? We were actually a decent team this year. We did finish with a negative run differential, but I'm pretty excited about how we played this year and our chances of competing in this division within the next couple seasons. I mean, we weren't even officially eliminated until yesterday. You could see here, today is the last day of the season, so I think this actually counts as maybe the third when we lost that game. I don't know, but very, very late into the season, we were still in the playoff race. Now, obviously, it would have taken a miracle to get in there at the end with the 3 games back, but still, 3 games out of the wild card, above 500 as the Chicago White Sox in 2025. That's pretty damn good, especially with all the injuries that we dealt with this season. Quintana out like the whole year. Brooks Lee broke his finger down the stretch and also was just not good this season. An 81 WRC plus he was good at second, not great at short. I mean, we would like to see more from Brooks Lee. Definitely struggled for good periods. I mean, May and June he was good, but then July stunk it up. August was horrible. And then September started getting back into it, but then broke his finger. Unfortunately, Walker Buehler here, dead arm to end the season, but he came back and got 12 starts and was really good. So we're excited to see what he can do for us next season. If we take a look at our team stats page, August, September, 16-10 in August, 15-11 in September, 3-2 in October. I mean, post-trade deadline, we're a damn good team. I mean, and all we did was we got rid of Conforto, we got rid of Profar, and the boys just, they stepped on the gas. They did what they needed to do. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but, we'll take finishing 3 games out of the wild card absolutely above 500, our first winning season here in the Bob Mould era of the Chicago White Sox, and then taking a look at these team stats. Really good OBP, 6th in the American League. Only 11th in run scores. That's definitely something that needs to improve, our overall runs scored. But then, 5th in extra base hits. That's pretty damn impressive. 5th in walks. We stole a decent amount of bags. We're horrible base runners, though. And then on the pitching defense side of things, overall, the 6th best ERA in the American League. So we'll take that. The 3rd best bullpen ERA. The bullpen was on fire this year. We figured out the bullpen. We've got that clicking. We just need to get the actual guys in the starters in the rotation to actually be able to get us deep into games and not have to fully rely on the bullpen here. But, very encouraging that we were at a really good bullpen. 7th in runs allowed, we'll take that, absolutely. 8th in BABIP and home runs allowed, that should hopefully improve. Base on balls, that needs to improve. We're going to have to figure out, are we going to be a team that strikes out a ton of guys and walks guys, or are we going to be a team that limits hits and walks and doesn't strike out anybody? Generally, I tend to be a guy who prefers the base on balls low and the hits low, but won't strike out as many people. But we cannot have both of these numbers being in double digits. That's completely unacceptable. And then we need to improve our defense next season. We need to really figure out where we can play guys to really get the optimal defense alignment, because we were just kind of playing guys all over the place this year, just kind of ragtagging our way through the rest of the season. But taking a look at the pitching staff here, the guys who finished the year on the big league roster, sorting by innings pitched, Jack Flaherty, unfortunately, really, really stunk it up down the stretch. Probably leaning towards not bringing him back at this point. Maybe we should have just traded him. But, you could see May he was good. June he kind of struggled. July was bad with the ERA, good with the FIP. August, similar. He had kind of struggled in August. And then September was just dreadful. So, and was giving up too many home runs down the stretch too. So Jack Flaherty, don't love to see that. But then Tanner Banks getting the 2nd most innings as a stopper for us, a 3-win player at 33 years old. He is going to be making 3.3, which is totally fine. We'll be paying that. We expect him to be a big part of our team next season as well. And we've also got Jonathan Cannon, who ended up being a decent pitcher for us. Nothing crazy, but, he was serviceable, around league average. We'll take that. Andrew Kittredge, who we re-signed to a 2-year deal, the second year being a team option at $1.5 million for each, which is a downgrade from his salary this season. He was really good for us out of the bullpen this year. He'll be back next season. Love to see it. Santucci, he was overall pretty solid. We look at his splits between the bullpen and the rotation. Obviously better as a reliever than he was as a starter, but, He's 22, getting his first chance in the big leagues here. Definitely somebody we're going to hope is going to be a good starter for us next season, full-time throughout the whole year. Kai Bush ended up coming back up to the big leagues here down the stretch. If you look at his splits, overall as a starter was not good, but once he was as a follower, actually pretty damn good. So you can see as a follower in September, only got one appearance in October. In September and then July, he actually had some decent appearances. So Kai Bush, maybe some juice there, the lefty out of St. Mary's. We also got Drew Thorpe, who was not good whatsoever this season. That's definitely something that needs to be figured out because on paper, he's somebody that we like, but the performances are just not there. You cannot be giving up that many home runs with this type of ERA plus and FIP minus. Brazoban, really good in the bullpen as a 35-year-old. Jason Foley, not as good as it was early season, but still, he was our opener guy. Finished the year on fire. We'll take it. He was good for us. He's another guy who's probably going to be back on a cheap arbitration for next season. And then Caleb Ferguson, this, you look at this overall number for him and you're like, oh, he was okay. He was actually really good. Those numbers are combined between us and Minnesota. He was really good with us, not great with Minnesota. So Caleb Ferguson, another guy who's an expiring free agent. What does he want? We would probably lock this in. We would probably give him that. Maybe even do a thing like we did with Kittredge, where we give him a 2-year, make the second year an option. We're not going to do that right now, but that's definitely on the table for Caleb Ferguson. We talked about Walker Buehler, who was good down the stretch in 12 starts. Hopefully he can stay healthy for a whole season next year. And then Jordan Liager, never got his ERA to be good, but his FIP was quite solid the whole time out. Coming back from his torn elbow ligament he got last season. And then Mark Leiter Jr., as much as it kills me to say, my arch nemesis was actually really good in 25 appearances, 33 and 2/3 innings. I mean, 2.03 ERA plus and an 80 FIP minus. That's really damn good. I don't know if we'll bring him. Oh, we'll probably bring him back, honestly, with a 2.6. I mean, why not give him a chance to be part of our ragtag bullpen here, considering he was so good? And he still has, I guess that was his last option here. So, we'll probably still bring him back, though, because he's one of our better relievers. And then Victor Vodnik coming over was not great, but was okay. A little bit less than league average, or like a little bit worse than league average FIP minus, but a little bit better than league average ERA plus. So, he was good. He was whatever. He's another guy who's controllable, making league minimum. So he'll be around next year as well. And then on the offensive side of things, sorting by wins above replacement, you may notice right off the bat here that Michael Massey did not lead our team in wins because his second half was not great. We look at his splits here. April, May, June was on fire. And then July, August, and September, horrible. Just really, really did the quintessential first half great, makes the All-Star team probably. He did. He was an All-Star in 2025, and then second half falls off a cliff, does not do anything for us. But even with that, we were still good down the stretch. So, I don't know if Michael Massey is going to be somebody. He is. He's somebody we have on our team now. We like him. Hopefully he can be good for us next season too. We'll see. But then Edgar Caro, most wins on the team with a 3.8 WAR, 128 WRC plus, 35 doubles, 11 home runs. We'll take it. Absolutely. He's one of our best players. We would like to see this framing get better if we can in the offseason through a dev lab, but, not the greatest framing, but overall, it's whatever. And then Brooks Baldwin. Man, was he pretty good. 2.8 WAR, 121 WRC plus, 29 doubles, 18 home runs after tearing up AA last season. He's a guy who was horrible. You look at this screen and you're like, holy shit, this guy can't play anywhere. I don't understand why he can't. Why can't this give you a really good second base or really good third base? You look at his fielding stats, -7 at second base, -2.6 at third base, -5.9 in left field. Sure, maybe that's a little bit reasonable, but it's still a 55 range, 60 error. You would think he would be able to hang in all three of those positions, but he just wasn't. Maybe it's because he was bouncing around, whatever it may be. But sometimes you'll just run into those things where you have guys with good ratings here, and they just don't perform well. But maybe next year, if we stick to him being in one spot for the whole year, he'll actually perform well. So Brooks Baldwin's bat, definitely something that has jumped off the page for us this season as like a building piece for us. And then Brian Ramos, another guy who was really good, Played third and first for us this year. Mainly first, was horrible defensive. Or actually, this is actually better than it was. This was like a -3 or 4 last time I looked, and he actually got better with it. So Brian Ramos looking like some juice in his bat here. 55 as a third baseman. Definitely more of a first baseman at the moment. 60 overall as a first baseman. I mean, yeah, Brian Ramos, some juice in the bat there. The Cuban first baseman, absolutely. 23 doubles, 26 home runs. Love to see it. Another building piece that we have, building block for our team, along with, like, it's these 4 guys are our bats. And then Christian Pache, not great. You know, his season was like up and down. He had a good April, bad May, good June, bad July, bad August, bad September, and then barely played in October, obviously. But Pache, horrible at the plate. Like I said, we would like to see this about 85-ish. Anywhere around there, we'll take that. But also at the same time, you know, $3.8 million. We might still just run him back at center field next season because his defense is just that level of good in center field where it's like, I mean, hell yeah, sign me up for another year of this in center field. I don't know why with a 70 arm, he has a -4.3 arm rating, but that's weird to me. Definitely very odd, but still, the zone rating, big time stuff there for Pache. Maybe the bat can get a little bit better this season, or next season, or just be around like an 85. We'll have to see. And then Jeremiah Jackson actually came up in the trade from the Mets, and he was really, really good down the stretch. Put up a 1 WAR and 152 WRC plus with 12 doubles and 11 home runs with a 949 OPS in 151 plate appearances. Obviously struck out a good amount, but, you know, he has some avoid K risk, but he's got that BABIP, gap power, and power. Don't think he's ever going to be a full-time starter, but definitely a very interesting backup infielder. Like a, why am I blanking on his name? The Diaz guy we had with the Marlins, who was our backup infielder for like 4 straight seasons. Jeremiah Jackson could be that for us here in this universe. And then Samuel Zavala came up and held his own. He put up a 1 WAR, league average bat. He didn't walk as much as we would like, struck out a bit too much, but, you know, I think as he develops more, as he gets more comfortable with the major leagues here, we'll see this avoid K go up, this BABIP go up, this I continue to be very good, and, you know, he could be a very solid leadoff guy for us at some point in his career, and maybe drop Caro down to like a 2 or 3 hole so he's more effective rather than only as the leadoff hitter for us because he's like the main OBP guy with a 65 I and 65 avoid K. Wilmer Flores ended up being pretty decent, barely played against righties, but then against lefties, he had a 120 WRC plus, as you would hope for against lefties there. But, you know, he's not going to be back next season. He's just going to be let walk in a free agency. But we salute you for being a solid player for us for 1 year. Unfortunately, you were not able to get us anything at the deadline. And then Colson Montgomery. He was another guy who was really disappointing. Him and Brooks Lee, I was hoping for big seasons from both of them. Colson Montgomery, unfortunately, I mean, the ratings still look good. You hope that it was just kind of a slump for his sophomore season. But 93 WRC plus with a sub 1 WAR, not going to cut it for a guy we're hoping to be like a middle of the order hitter for us. Hopefully he can bounce back next season. Siegler was whatever as a backup catcher. Peroza came up, barely played, and was really good in very limited sample size. He's somebody we're probably going to try to work in some more next season. And then we also have Lloyd El Chappelli, who didn't have the greatest numbers, but like I like this guy. I think he's intriguing. So we're going to see what he does for us. Gage Workman is another guy that I like, but I don't know. He's another guy who like didn't put it together. Negative ZR. I don't understand how you get a -4 ZR with these defensive ratings that just don't make sense to me. And especially not being able to hit with a potentially 60 BABIP, currently 50, 65 gap, 50 power to go along with this speed. I mean, maybe we try to throw him in the dev lab this offseason, but like I think this guy, like we'll probably run him back at shortstop and see what he can do for us, depending on what happens in free agency, because he just looks like he could do something. He's an interesting player. I want to see if we can make it work. And then Jacob Berry with a really disappointing season for him. Just got hurt a ton. He had that broken collarbone to start the season, then he fractured his wrist while on a rehab assignment, then he had a sore ankle for a bit. And then just was never really able to get his feet under him and just never really played too much because he got hurt, and Brian Ramos came up, played first, and turned himself into one of the best first basemen in baseball, I guess. So Jacob Berry, unfortunately, not really looking like a guy who's, long for this team, other than like a backup first baseman type guy depth for us. But, still has multiple options, still making league minimum. He'll be on next year's team, whether it's in AAA or as like a backup first baseman type. And then some of the guys that are on the 40-man who played for us that are worth mentioning. Dominic Fletcher, following up his 2-win season with a negative 1.1 WAR and a 31 WRC+. He was Nicky Lopez, but even worse this year. I mean, was a really good defender, didn't matter. Was just terrible, didn't even hit in AAA. I mean, what the fuck's going on, Dominic? You got to figure it out here. Jose Rodriguez was up for a bit as our backup infielder. He really didn't do anything for me. I think Jeremiah Jackson has firmly overtaken him as the backup infielder. But, Rodriguez still making league minimum, multiple options, really good speed profile, still gives you some infield depth. He'll probably be around on next year's team, or next year's 40-man roster still. Austin Gauthier never played in the bigs this year because, every time we were looking to call up somebody, he just wasn't hitting in AAA. So I was like, why do I want to call up this guy? So Gauthier, once again, a guy who still has options, making league minimum. He'll probably be around in the 40-man, but, definitely not somebody we're really looking at too strongly anymore. Same with Ben Rice. Continues to not be able to hit in the big leagues. Might be a quad A guy at this point in his career. Shane Smith finished the year in AAA. He was okay in the big leagues, barely pitched 10 1/3. Was really good in AAA for us, but he's another guy who has options. He's making league minimum and has good ratings on paper, so he'll definitely be around for next year's team. Mike Burrows, another guy who has options or one more option for next season. Never played in the big leagues for us, or he did for a little bit, wasn't great. We sent him down to AAA, and between the bullpen and the rotation, he was probably better in the bullpen, I'd have to imagine. Yeah, definitely better in the bullpen, but he was okay in the rotation. Nick Nastrini just gave up too many home runs in the big leagues this year, so he got sent down, was really good in AAA. Hopefully he can bounce back next year because he's another guy who, on paper, has really good ratings, could be a really good bulk reliever, if not a starter, and has multiple options, making league minimum. Landon Knack falls in the same category. On paper is a guy we like, was just not good in the big leagues this season, but was really good in AAA, and also has multiple options, making league minimum with less than a year of service time. And then Jake Eater finished the year in a rehab assignment because he got a sore elbow that put him on the IL for 2 weeks. And he was not great in the big leagues, but okay in AAA. Definitely a guy we're still looking at to obviously have around, multiple options, making league minimum with less than a year of service time. He's also a captain, so obviously that's good to have around. And then just quickly looking around the league at the league leaders here on the hitting side of things, your batting average leader in the National League is Michael Harris. In the American League, it is nobody on this list. So it's all National League on this list. The American League guys all were below this. Interesting. Home run leader, though, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. Ellie De La Cruz behind him. Tristan Casas up here. The OBP leader, Juan Soto, who's with Detroit. Wow, I didn't realize that he signed with Detroit. So he actually tore his labrum here at the end of the season. So Juan Soto signing a deal through 2032 with the Detroit Tigers. And they were still not good this year, weren't they? But they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs as a wild card team. So Detroit does make the playoffs. They sneak in with Juan Soto. The best WAR in all of baseball, like 10 WAR, Michael Harris II over in Atlanta with De La Cruz, Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, don't look up his high school, and Jackson Holliday behind him. The doubles leader, Jung Hoo Lee, baby. The Hooligans going nuts for the grandson of Wind. One of my favorite nicknames and just players in general in baseball because he's cool as hell. Pretty self-explanatory. But leads MLB in doubles this season. Triples, Brooks Baldwin, second in triples, tied with Edwin Arroyo, of the Cincinnati Reds, and then Victor Scott of the St. Louis Cardinals. The leader was Corbin Carroll of the D-backs. Stolen base leader, Victor Scott, the second of St. Louis. Esteury Ruiz behind him. Jose Caballero's on this list. Joey Gallo still a hitter in this universe, striking out a shit ton with the Pittsburgh Pirates, hitting 33 home runs, but it doesn't matter because he strikes out way too much to be effective. And then on the pitching side of things, the ERA leader was Aaron Ashby of the Milwaukee Brewers. That's crazy. Zebby Matthews with the second best ERA in Major League Baseball this year. Joe Musgrove up there as well. Wild top 3 ERA leaders. The wins leaders, Zach Eflin and Nathan Eovaldi. The saves leader was Ryan Helsley of the St. Louis Cardinals. Innings pitched was Logan Webb. The WAR leaders were Woodruff, Musgrove, Logan Webb, Jackson Jobe, and Sandy Alcantara. While if we scroll down a little bit, the strikeout leader, Kyle Harrison, in this really, really good prospect. One of the best prospects entering this universe. And I think in real life he struggled in 2024, so in 2025 he wasn't really viewed that highly, which is why he was included in the dump for Rafi Devers. And then taking a look at the bottom here for the shutdowns, Tanner Banks, second most shutdowns in Major League Baseball, only behind Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers, and then also the second most holds. I mean, just one of the best relievers in baseball. He might win the reliever of the year. He was that good for us, especially since he got that in 136.2 innings pitched. I mean, that's back-to-back really solid seasons for him in the bullpen this year, way better than last year, but still, overall, he's been a really good reliever for us here. Another Utah guy, another lefty out of Utah, just like Kai Busch. Not the same college, though. I think Kai Busch went to St. Mary's, but they're both from Utah, the state. And then on the fielding side of things, Brooks Baldwin, I mean, I guess maybe that's what does it with the defense. Commits 17 errors, the fifth most in Major League Baseball. I've talked about how errors can sometimes be misleading because, in real life, the people will see guy gets the ball, doesn't make play. That's an error, but in reality, it's like he has no business getting to that ball, but like the 65-year-old scorer has no idea how to judge that, so errors can be a bit misleading in real life, but in this, Brooks Baldwin definitely had a bad defensive season, despite good defensive ratings, and had a ton of errors to show for it. And then Caro also gave up a ton of passed balls. That's definitely something that needs to improve next season. And then Pache, the second best ZR in Major League Baseball this season because Jose Siri of the Tampa Bay Rays put up a 28.7 ZR in center field. Jesus Christ. Back-to-back 4-win seasons for Jose Siri. Holy crap, dude. Oh my God. Now that's a center fielder right there. What did he do last year? 17.2. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, he hit 30 home runs last year. And now here you have the postseason bracket in front of your face. The American League, the National League, you get the Reds and the Braves with buys in the National League, the Guardians and the Red Sox with buys in the American League, Tigers, Twins, Rays, Mets, Cardinals, Brewers, and Dodgers are your wildcard teams. And we're going to leave you hanging. You don't get to see who wins the World Series until next episode.